Hello everybody and welcome back to OPTV Live's Mech Mania Monday. I am Steve and you are watching Grudge Wars. Tonight, Game D of our bracket, TheKhumi versus SuperMeggido. These guys seem like that they're a little bit of friends, but they also wanted to challenge each other at the same time, so I'm calling this the frenemy match. TheKhumi over here, we are on Twin Peaks. TheKhumi on the left-hand side in the red, playing as that steampunk Osprey. His opponent, SuperMeggido, over here on the right in the blue, playing as the Deep Sea Osprey. So once again, folks, more Osprey on Osprey action. Very interesting tonight watching these different games, seeing what people choose. That so far, pretty much other than Gam Gam, everyone tonight has been going Osprey. So might be interesting to see if Osprey can be defeated by somebody else. I would like to almost extend that as a challenge. Can one of these players at some point during this event this evening defeat an opponent that is using an Osprey without using an Osprey themselves? But as we can see, this is the great thing that happens on Twin Peaks. For those of you not familiar with this map, you start at this main base here, you then come down to the side. You now have a choice. You can either go up and around, break through some of these neutral units, go into this middle power station right here, loop around here, come around down here to this enemy outpost, break through there, then come around and come up straight to the enemy fortress. Or instead, you can choose to go downwards, and at that point, you go down to this outpost right here, break through some neutrals, go through a little bit of a minefield, go through another outpost with neutrals, and then you have a clear path straight of the way up. Arguably, both lanes have advantages and disadvantages to them. But very interestingly enough, SuperMeggido has not really made a move in either direction, just really fortifying up this outpost, making sure that there's not going to be any chase attempt at all. Mass amounts of seekers, flamers, and everything along that path, while TheKhumi, on the other hand, is actually moving down through this bottom lane, deciding to take the bottom lane, which typically sometimes can be a safe choice. I've found statistically that players tend to go for the upper lane more often than the bottom lane. So sometimes going the bottom lane, while it does take longer to get through and it's a little bit more dangerous initially, can potentially turn into a bigger advantage because you might catch your opponent off guard. And as we saw on that map, if you do get through that two lines of defenses, of neutral defenses, and there's really not much else holding you back from that main fortress itself. SuperMeggido now actually making his push onto that top outpost. However, TheKhumi down here on the bottom has complete control of the bottom lane. There is nothing left on here other than his stuff. And very interestingly, folks, as you see, as he's flying around, he pretty much never takes his finger off that heal button. So even if it's just like a few seconds here and there, he's getting a little bit of heals on his tanks. He's gaining little tiny points of experience with those heals. As he's flying by those landmines, he's getting heal points from that as well. And now he is really digging himself deep into the ground. This has turned into a little bit of a trench right here. Look at all of those Geminis. He's got 13 Geminis out on the field, 4 more in his build queue. He is just massively going the full-fledged Gemini route. Geminis right now are being argued that they might be slightly imbalanced. It's interesting to see. I really can't say for sure either way. There's a lot of discussion right now in the community, especially by some of the pro players, as far as whether or not Geminis are balanced or unbalanced. But right now we've got a little bit of battle that's going on. 17 Geminis on one side, 9 Geminis on the other, but SuperMeggido, one thing that he has out on the field more of than TheKhumi does is those Hunter Seekers. Those Hunter Seekers were enough to put TheKhumi down for a little while, and Meggido is trying to make a move on that outpost, but he only takes 2 treats out before TheKhumi is back to respond. TheKhumi now is deploying even more and more units, spending pretty much every last time that he has. 10,000 in the bank, 53 units out on the field, 55 out of 54. He has maxed out his unit cap right here. He now realizes, you know what, unit cap is maxed, there's nothing else I can do, so I am gonna push. Oh no, and SuperMeggido goes down to those Seeker missiles right at the worst possible time. He is not buying back yet. He doesn't really have much of the money to do it. And TheKhumi's push is now at the main base. You've got 18 Geminis banging down on this base. Folks, I really don't think that there's anything that Meggido can do about this. We are down to 40%, 30%, 20%, 10%. The GGs go up, and there is your winner, folks. TheKhumi wins his frenemy grudge match against SuperMeggido and does move on to the semifinals. So that, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Built 30 versus Built 20, 1 death each, 2 kills on SuperMeggido. That was Game D of OPTV Live's Mech Mania Mondays Grudge Wars, hosted by Steve, presented by OPTV Live. Stay tuned for the semifinals.